Walking with God. Enoch walked with God. Genesis chapter 5, verse 24. The original Hebrew meaning for walked implies that Enoch went up and down, in and out, to and fro, arm in arm with God, continually conversing with him and growing closer to him. Enoch's father, Jared, lived to be 962 years old, and Enoch's son, Methuselah, lived to be 969. Enoch lived 365 years, or a year of years. In him, we see a new kind of believer. For 365 days, each year, for all of his 365 years, he walked arm in arm with the Lord. The Lord was his very life. So much so that at the end of his life, he did not see death. By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found because God had translated him. For before his translation, he had this testimony that he pleased God. But without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Hebrews chapter 11, verses 5 to 6. Like Enoch, who was translated out of life, those who walk closely with God are translated out of Satan's reach, taken out of his kingdom of darkness, and put into Christ's kingdom of light, who hath delivered us from the power of darkness, and hath translated us into the kingdom of his dear Son. Colossians chapter 1, verse 13. Right now, we stand translated out of the devil's nature, snare, and into the very heart of Jesus. The Greek word for translated here suggests that Christ comes personally and carries us away from the devil's power and sets us in the heavenly place. God translates only those who walk intimately with him, like Enoch. Those who are held captive at Satan's will cannot be taken up and delivered from darkness. I believe that we are not truly saved until we set our hearts firmly on walking with God. We can claim to be saved and to love him, and we can tell the world we belong to him. We may even pray, weep, and devour his word, but unless we walk closely with him every day, we will never change. We will fall deeper and deeper into bondage. Enoch learned to walk pleasingly before God in the midst of a wicked society. Yet he was an ordinary man with all the same problems and burdens we carry. He was not a hermit hidden away in the wilderness or cave. He was involved in life with a wife, children, obligations, and responsibilities. Enoch wasn't hiding to be holy. Today, however, many Christians are running for the hills to hide from the mounting calamities. So-called prophets are telling people to come to their safe and rural havens. Messianic Christians are being warned to flee to Israel to escape the financial collapse anticipated in America. But Enoch proved that the greater testimony is to walk with God in the midst of the storm. No matter what his command was, go ye, not hide ye. Yet Enoch knew full well this world was ungodly, and he looked down through history to the very last days, and all he could say was ungodly. Now Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied about these men, also saying, behold, the Lord comes with 10,000s of his saints to execute judgment on all, to convict all who are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have committed in an ungodly way, and of all the harsh things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. We must not hide from the world, but at the same time, if we are walking with the Lord, then we must also see the world as Enoch saw it, ungodly, full of the spirit of the Antichrist, and polluted with harsh speech against our God. How can we hunger for Jesus and remain part of what is ungodly? How can we desire him above all else and yet count ourselves with those he is coming to judge? I am not talking here about ministering to a lost world, which is our duty as disciples of Christ. I mean that we cannot be a part of that world. I'm also not condemning the beauty of nature, the good things God has created. We should consider the lilies of the field. Matthew chapter 6:28. But if we are walking him arm in arm with Jesus, talking with him and listening to him, we will hate this ungodly world system. We will take his side against those who talk against him. We will heed his word that whoever wants to be a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of God. James chapter 4, verse 4. And when the Lord is coming with tens of thousands of his saints to judge a sinful, lost world, then we will not stand again before him guilty and ashamed. One other prophet was literally translated like Enoch. Yet while he walked on this earth, Enoch undertook all his responsibilities. He cared for his family. He worked, ministered, and occupied. But he was not earthbound. None of the demands of this life would keep him from his walk with God. The Lord consumed him. In every walking moment, his mind came back to him. His heart was attached to God with what seemed like a huge rubber band. And the more you stretch a rubber band, the more strongly it springs back when you let it go. And Enoch's heart always sprang back to the Lord. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. We know from Hebrews that this verse speaks of Enoch's translation. The fact that he did not taste death, but it also means something deeper. The phrase he was not, as used in Genesis 5, also means he was not of this world in his spirit and his senses. Enoch was not a part of this wicked world. Each day, as he walked with the Lord, he became less attached to the world, things below. Day by day, year by year, he was going up, heading home, getting closer to glory. Like Paul, he died daily to this earthly life, and he was taken up in his spirit to a heavenly realm. God bless you all.